All right, so what's a pretty straightforward graphing question, but can have a few tricks in it. This is actually, I had to redo this video because I didn't understand what I wanted to do at the end, but I got it now. So it says, sketch the graph, show any asymptotes, state the coordinates it crosses the axis. So I'm going to go to the calculator. I'm going to put the equation into y equals. I'm going to take a look at the graph. It looks like it has an asymptote going kind of vertically right up the middle there, and it looks like it has a horizontal asymptote going right there, kind of down the middle again. So I'm going to look at the table. The vertical asymptote is clearly 2 because it's an error. So when I go to my graph here, before I draw this, it's better to get the asymptotes in. I'm going to put them as kind of dotted lines. So there's x equals 2, so that's an asymptote. Then if you look at the graph real careful, it's definitely at -3 horizontally there that thing doesn't cross. That's where it swaps over to the other shape. So right here, there's going to be an asymptote also. So then I'm going to go to the table, and I'm going to find some whole number points. So 1, 2 is a whole number point that I can see. So 1, 2. -3, -2, I can also see there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that's going to be right there. So this curve kind of bends like this, and then it goes through there like that and up. So that looks something like that. And then the other part of it, at -3, it's at -8, and at 7, it's at -4. 3, -8, 7, -4. So 3, -8, and then 7, -4. And this graph is going to kind of go like this. So there's a pretty good sketch of what it's supposed to look like. Now it also says stating coordinates, stating the coordinates of any points of intersection of the axes. So now this one is a little goofy here. So there's 2 points and they're right next to each other. And if I don't draw my graph careful, I'm not going to see them. So the coordinates of that point, the coordinates of that point. One of them comes right from the table. Those are where things are 0. So when x is 0, y is -1/2. So that's this point right here. That is not what I wanted to do. That is this point right here. 0, -1/2. So this point, other point, this point, I'll do it in blue instead of red. Whoops. 0, -1/2. So then this point, which I'm going to color blue over top of, I'm going to find by using the 0 in the calculator. So I'm going to go to the calculator, I'm going to go back to the graph, I'm going to hit second trace, and I want a 0. This is going to find me when y is 0. So it's got to be right around that thing there. So left bound, make sure you get it between right bound. So it's between those 2 points, kind of guess. It's pretty close to right there. So that's my other point there, -0.3 repeating 0. So -0.3 repeating, comma, 0. So there's my other point. Then the part that tripped me up before is that it said, hence or otherwise solve the inequality, absolute value of the function is less than 2. So it wants to know when does this function, what x values, I'll write this down, what x values give a y less than 2, but I'm going to put a star here and say absolute value. Absolute value. So if I go to this graph here, I'm going to highlight. So it would be anything between those 2 yellow lines, which are really, really thick, but it's going to start at this point right here, and it's going to end at this point right here. At those 2 points, it's exactly 2. It wouldn't solve the thing. So it's x equals 1, 2, 3 to x equals 1. So it's x equals 3 to x equals 1, but it -3 to 1, but it can't be those things. So the usual way that you guys did this in algebra 2 was to do this. The parenthesis means that it's not equal to. The brackets would be equal to. So that'd be the answer to that. That's a pretty nasty little question there at the end. But that's what they want to know. When do you get a y value less than absolute value is less than 2 between -3 and 1, because at -3 it's -2, which has an absolute value of 2, and at 1 its value is 2, which has an absolute value of 2 also.